Most people are familiar with the story of the English king Henry VIII and his 6 wives. But what is not widely known is that Henry may have suffered from a mysterious and at the time unknown illness. Let us take a closer look at this. When Henry VIII took the English throne in 1509, he was a young, athletic, and excellent student, and by all accounts, Henry was sociable, enjoying sports and dancing. Henry was the second son of King Henry VII and Elizabeth of York, and his elder brother, Arthur, had died at age 15, leaving Henry as heir to the throne. He was described as the most charismatic leader to ever sit on the English throne, and frequently took part in jousting tournaments and went on hunting excursions. In 1509, Henry married the widow of his brother, Catherine of Aragon. By 1516, and after 5 pregnancies, the couple only had one living child, a girl by the name of Mary. This was a problem for Henry because it meant there was no male heir to the throne. By this time, Henry had started a relationship with a young lady from the court by the name of Anne Boleyn. Henry wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, but the Pope refused to annul his marriage to Catherine. Henry, who was a staunch Roman Catholic at the time, took matters into his own hands. He had his marriage annulled by the Archbishop of Canterbury and married Anne Boleyn in 1533. With this act, the Pope excommunicated Henry from the Catholic Church. This triggered the beginning of the English Renaissance, when Henry established the English Church as separate from the Catholic Church and made himself head of the church. In 1536, during a jousting tournament, Henry fell from his horse, and the horse, fully clad in armor, fell on top of Henry, rendering him unconscious for 2 hours. When Henry recovered, he was never the same again. In an instant, his personality had been transformed. He had become a bullying tyrant. As a matter of fact, that same year, in May of 1536, he had Anne Boleyn beheaded after accusing her of adultery, incest, and treason. Hardly had her body been placed in the ground when Henry remarried Jane Seymour, who gave birth to King Edward VI, but died a few weeks later from complications of childbirth. In January of 1540, Henry remarried Anne of Cleves, but claiming that she did not look anything like the painting that was sent him, he had their marriage annulled 6 months later. In a matter of weeks, Henry married Catherine Howard, whom he then beheaded in 1542 after accusing her of adultery and treason. Henry's last wife was Catherine Parr, whom he married in 1543. He died in 1547 from natural causes. When Henry fell from his horse in 1536, from one moment to the next, his personality was transformed. He had suffered a concussion which had rendered him unconscious for 2 hours. The change in his behavior was evidence of post-concussion syndrome. A concussion is a violent shaking of the head that causes traumatic brain injury. The violent shaking causes damage to the brain tissue and causes a disruption of the balance of neurotransmitters and their receptors in the brain. Post-concussion syndrome presents as a collection of physical, cognitive, behavioral, and emotional symptoms that present shortly after the traumatic brain injury. As a result, people who have PCS, can develop personality changes and develop impulsive and aggressive behavior and motor disinhibition, a condition in which they commit acts without thinking. In fact, Henry had had his chief minister, Thomas Cromwell, beheaded in 1540, a decision he gravely regretted. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button, leave your comments in the box below, and you can support the channel by subscribing. Until the next video, stay healthy and stay safe.